ChatGPT has a special tool that is so powerful that I believe it will literally make millionaires. And just this week, they released a free version that anyone can use. And people are already using this tool and tools like it to get rich. Now, this one, it gives you such an unfair advantage that if you're not using it, you're going to get lost in the dust. In this video, I will show you how to use OpenAI's Deep Research to cash in for your business. Follow what I'm about to reveal, and it's like having an army of researchers right in your office doing PhD level research, all done for you. Now, I'm talking hours and hours of work and research done in just minutes. And if you use it just right, you can practically print money. I'm not kidding. So when I went out and I found 3 of the most profitable ways to use this tool, I designed it so that it can help blow up your business so that you know exactly how to use ChatGPT to make a lot of money. And when you stick around to the end, by the way, in addition to the 3 different money-making methods, I'm going to show you a bonus prompt template. So if you want a template you could use to use this tool, even in a more powerful way, stick around to the end and you'll see how to plug and play right with the prompt to get the most out of this tool. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, my name is Bill McIntosh, and over the last 25 years, I have generated over $100 million in revenue across all my different online businesses. And today, I teach how to use AI to launch and scale businesses. And that way, you can experience online success just like I have. So the question is, are you ready? Then let's dive in. So this training comes along with a free deck, which you can see up over there. It's a slide deck that contains all the prompts, all the stuff that you need to implement what I'm about to show you. Also, the presentation that I'm about to show, along with the notes and the prompts and everything you need to easily implement it. And it's free. All you need to do is subscribe to our totally free newsletter. And I'll drop a link to that in the description and in the comments below. And if you're a subscriber to the Ingeniosity free newsletter, you can download this deck and it's yours to use along with this training video. So now let's dive in, and I'm probably going to be bringing on in just a moment our channel's very own producer, Nick, who helps me run this channel, and he's going to help out with some of this. But we're going to be diving in, talking about ChatGPT's Deep Research, because Deep Research, it digs in deep, just like the name says. I've seen it in one of the sessions that I did. It literally searched through hundreds of links, digging through the internet, doing a tremendous amount of research and logic and thinking to help me do certain tasks that I want to accomplish. And many of those tasks are related to either getting traffic to my website or making money with my site and with my business. And it's incredibly helpful for that. Now, Deep Research up until very recently cost a lot of money. When they first released it, you had to be spending $200 a month just to get access to it. Then they opened it up to their, what they call their premium level, the $20 a month level. But even then, they limited it quite a lot. You could only do a very small number of deep research sessions. And then just now, they opened it up to their free tier, and they're giving more searches per month to both the premium and the pro level of OpenAI of ChatGPT. And so to talk about Deep Research, I'm going to bring in the channel's very own producer, Nick. Nick, are you out there?
I am, yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the power of Deep Research, and particularly humanity's last exam, and why this is important for people to understand.
Yeah, humanity's last exam is a really big test full of a wide variety of topics, from mathematics to humanities. And this is a benchmark they like to test all of the AI models on. That chart there, it's a few months old, but they've tested Grok, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, and at the very top, at the time that screenshot was taken, Deep Research won by a very wide margin.
Wow. Well, what I've noticed, we keep going back to the deep part of the Deep Research, is because I think that's such a great description of it. When I'm using it, it uncovers things that I personally might not have thought about or dug into without doing extensive research. So it really shocks me at some of the insight and some of the information that it finds when you use this feature.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
Cool. Now, I know you've been using this feature like crazy. I mean, you had the pro subscription like right out of the gate, and you were like going nuts using Deep Research for just about everything. And so today we're going to be focused on some money-making aspects of how people can use this to make money or start a business with this. But it's not limited to that. You were using it pretty extensively to do market research, to learn about new topics. Like, you learned about a whole new industry using this tool.
Anytime I have a burning question, I just fire up a Deep Research session. Usually they take about 10 to 20 minutes, and then I come back and I have a PhD level report waiting for me.
Yeah. So I know, what was it? It was like commercial phishing or something. You became like an expert in that whole industry just from letting ChatGPT do a Deep Research session.
Yeah. TikTok we kept showing me live streams at like 3 a.m. in the middle of the night of people on commercial fishing boats, like in Alaska. I got really fascinated with this industry and I wanted to learn all about it and how it works. I spun up a deep research session and I learned all about it. And more recently, TikTok's been showing me amateur pilots. So I'm like, I want to be an amateur pilot. So I spun up a deep research session giving.
Oh, that's why you've been talking about flying planes and getting a pilot's license. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We just had actually, we just up in LA. We were just talking about that.
I spun up a deep research session, learned all about it. And that's my fascination right now.
Cool. And so now this is a tweet here where they talk about releasing this now to all levels, including free. So that's kind of a big deal. I don't know if people will necessarily research that or understand this, because it takes a lot of computing power and it costs ChatGPT quite a lot of money to do these deep research sessions. And so now they're letting even the free tier use it.
So it's 5 for free, 25 for plus. And then Pro, which is the highest, the $200 tier, gets 250.
All right, cool. So realize that you do still have a limit. It's not unlimited. So use these wisely. We're going to show you the wise way to use them right now. And so here's just some feedback on how powerful deep research is. This person says, the deep research is the kind of product that quietly rewires entire industries. And then here's a doctor who had deep research do a patent search and write a patent for him and saved him $10,000 in legal fees. There's more and more examples of this. With that, we're going to move into the money-making stuff. We're going to count down, starting at number 3, down to the most powerful and most profitable way to make money with ChatGPT's Deep Research. And number 3 is to write a daily newsletter. One of the things that I am a huge advocate for is that you need to have an email list. Email marketing is by far the number 1 most profitable kind of marketing that I do in any of my businesses ever, period. Nothing is even close to as profitable for me as email marketing. And you can't do email marketing if you don't have a list. But there's a big problem that I see a lot, especially a lot of people with a new business. They just get a business launched. They don't have a lot of subscribers yet, and they don't quite know what to do to keep the list busy, because you need to keep mailing the list or it goes cold. They forget about you. And so this strategy is a perfect strategy, especially if you're just getting started building your list and you need a way to keep that list warm and keep them bonded to you. And that is by sending them a daily or weekly newsletter. Because when you use this prompt, it will practically just do the whole thing for you. And you just let it run and you can copy and paste it. You have your very own newsletter issue. Let's dive in and talk about how to use this. And here's an example, a case study right here. One newsletter making $4 million a year, just spending 30 minutes a day. Now, that's pretty extraordinary, right? Everyone shouldn't expect to make $4 million a year, 30 minutes a day, but that's pretty crazy, right? That shows you what's possible. We're going to dive into how you can do stuff like this. And here is the prompt that actually magically gets ChatGPT's Deep Research to help you write this. Now, Nick, it does research for you first, right? That's like step 1, is it goes out and finds what are the topics? What should you talk about in your newsletter?
Right, yeah. And this prompt that we have there, it's inspired, if you scroll up a little bit, there's an AI guy, his name's McKay Wrigley, and when this just came out, he came up with a prompt to get it to come up with a daily news brief personalized for him. I thought that was such a cool concept, and I thought, why not take that concept and modify it a little bit so it's not necessarily a news brief, but a curated newsletter you could make for your audience that's full of links and information that they would find helpful. So I took that link and modified it ever so slightly. It has about 80% of the original content, but 20% is modifications I put in on my end. And it's one prompt, and it uses Deep Research to you give it information about your list and what their interests are. And then Deep Research will go out, find all of the relevant stories, find any relevant links, articles, videos that your audience might be interested in. Then it writes a newsletter story curated just for your audience.
Yeah, and then I want to remind everyone too that this is kind of a lengthy prompt. So you can see it here on the screen if you want to try to type it down, but we will give it to you for free. It is in the deck. And should you download the deck as a free Ingeniosity subscriber, you can just copy and paste it. So it'll be in the deck if you're a subscriber. There's the mega prompt. And you start out by giving it the date. See, so you want to change that and edit the date into the prompt. And then here, I would say that as much of this as you have, if the more you know about your target audience, and the more information you feed ChatGPT, the better job it's going to do. But if you don't, let's say if there's one of these you don't know the answer to, you can just take it out. I don't think you have to fill out every single one of these, but obviously the more you fill out, the better the results you're going to get. And then here's a couple of interests, what is your audience interested in? My audience might be interested in AI tools and building an internet business and how to use AI to generate revenue, maybe how to start a business. Those would be examples of interests. And then if you have any sources that you like let's say that in your industry or your niche, that there's a particular site that puts out really good content, really good news. Like there's a couple marketing related sites in my industry I can think of, things like Search Engine Watch or stuff like that has very good topical, trustworthy information. So you can put those in there too. If you want to give ChatGPT any other information about your newsletter, you would put that in there. Like if you want to give it additional guidance or anything else that you want to kind of steer ChatGPT about how you want your newsletter to come out. And then any of these you can also edit. So including the tone or writing style, if you wanted to write at the 6th grade level in a cheerful format. If you have a particular writer you want it to emulate, you can put that in there, or you could also delete that out of the prompt if you don't want to use it. And then finally, if you have any specific requests for this day's or this week's episode, you can put those in there. And so is this the updated link now, Nick? Should I click that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what this is showing us here, because these sessions take a few minutes to do, the session was done offline before and you can see here is the prompt that Nick put in. You can see here some of the interests, right? AI, traffic, offer creation, business ideas. This is like towards our audience. He gave some list of places that he likes to get content from. So this is that whole prompt, the same one I just shared with you. Great. Then I noticed it asks a question. So you just answer any questions that the AI might ask you. You can see this. Look at this. So it just generated a lesson. So AI and big tech updates. Actually, I'm learning some things right now as I read this that I didn't know released today. That's how good it is. Oh, this is interesting. A venture capital firm is creating a $20 billion AI fund. That's cool. Some startup stories. Here's a one-person business making $1 million a year. That's cool. Marketing and growth hacks. That's good content. I mean, this is my industry. So I can see what Nick created here with that prompt is really, really good quality. It would be a great addition to send out as an email newsletter. And then anything, Nick, on this prompt that you think people should know before we move on to the next segment? Method, I should say.
Yeah, feel free to play around with it and tinker with it. You don't have to, like I said, Bill mentioned earlier, you could take parts out, you could inject new parts in. You don't have to use that exact prompt. I'm sure it would differ depending on which vertical you're in. You could get really creative with this, in my opinion. There's a lot you could do. I feel like this is really powerful. You could have in one sitting, in one afternoon, you could have like a 30-day content plan, assuming you're on the highest tier plan. People associate AI content with, it lacks substance or it's low quality. When you're using this and you're using this prompt, and if you do it right, in my opinion, a lot of the output it comes out with is actually really good. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. This is vastly different than just like doing a one-shot prompt usually, like just saying, hey, write me a newsletter. Like it's going to put out bland garbage. But when you use deep research, it's really good. It really is.
Like I mentioned earlier, I will intentionally, if I have a question or a topic I want to explore, I'll put together a deep research prompt and I will intentionally curate articles for myself to read that were generated by deep research. And I think the content is really good. Yeah. That's my personal taste.
And then, by the way, too, that's the button right there that you toggle on. See how it turned blue when I clicked it there? You just toggle that on when you put the prompt in and submit it. And that's what turns on the deep research feature, which is different than just regular search.
Regular search will give you results almost instantly. Deep research, at the very shortest, it will take 10 minutes, sometimes up to 45 minutes, because it's doing that much work to come up with your content. And that's why all of the conversations were prepared beforehand, is because if we were doing the deep research live with you right now, this video would be like multiple hours long.
Yeah. So yeah, do your deep research and then walk away and let it run. Go on and do something else and then come back to it. We're going to move on to use case number 2, which is getting traffic to your website. And there's a very successful and controversial figure, Grant Cardone, who, boy, does he get a lot of attention and make a lot of money. And he says money follows attention. The best known will always be more successful than the best. Boy, is that not true. So it is by getting the word out and getting yourself known and getting content out, getting links out, getting attention to come back to you and your brand. That is the very first step and maybe the most important step of all when it comes to making money online. And so we have a deep research prompt. And so this strategy is an interesting one because it's really clever. And this is one that Nick came up with. I don't know what inspired you on this one, but you use deep research at the beginning and then you ask that deep research some questions. Am I understanding that right?
I think this workflow is 7 prompts. It's a 7-prompt system. You use it at the very beginning to do a deep dive into your market. I ask it to go to places like Reddit or Quora or to look at internet forums to see what people are talking about in your niche and what problems they have. And then we're forming our content strategy based on the problems people in our niche are having. At the very end, again, we're going to spin up another deep research session based on this information to produce a very well thought out and well-researched article that will address one of the problems people have in our niche.
It's like deep inception. So you have deep
Yeah.
research within deep research. And so this is going to help us get traffic because we're going to generate our content with it. And this is once you have really great blog content that you can use either in social media, search engines, or other places, that is the key to start to get that attention and get that traffic flowing to your website. You know, I like to use the example of it's like bait, right? It's like these little tidbits of information and bait, and that's your blog posts. And when they're good, and when they really speak to your target audience, people click and come to your website, and that's how you capture that traffic. So here's first, number one, and you have two things in here that you prompt it with. First, you put in your topic. You fill that in right there. So Nick, I really like how you have structured this with there being a topic and a separate market. And I want to give an example to everyone watching of what the differences of these things are. So a market as an example of a general group of people or a general topic, right? So that might be something like entrepreneurs or people who want to start a business, or it could be people interested in fishing, or it could be gardeners, or you know what I'm saying? It's like a large topic that one would consider like a niche market that you would serve with a business. And then separately under topic, that is something more specific. So a topic might be something like, take gardeners, for example. So with gardeners, they might want to know an organic way to control pests, a non-toxic organic way to control pests in the garden. That might be an example of a topic. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Cool. You put that in, and this you turn on deep research, right? So you've triggered deep research here, and you let it do its thing and walk away.
You actually do that on prompt 2. So notice at the end of prompt 1, it says, do you understand? You're just informing it as to what it's going to do. And then on prompt 2, then you're setting it off and you're having it conduct the deep research session, which if you read prompt number 2, it's going to uncover fears, frustrations, goals, etc. that your audience has.
Okay, good. So then you prime it here. Once it confirms it understands, then you click the deep research button and submit prompt number 2.
Right.
Okay. So then prompt 3 is where we start getting our ideas. So deep research is going to dig in and come back with 100 of these different fears, frustrations, and goals of your audience. And this is so powerful. This is the core strategy that I launch all of my businesses around. Because when you design your products and you design your content around what really, truly your audience is looking for, right? Like I typically ignore like keyword research tools and things like that until I understand my audience's needs and wants and pain points and problems. And there are things that that audience might not even admit to, but that they're feeling, right? And I need to learn and uncover that. And then when I create content that speaks to those desires and speaks to those hidden problems and frustrations, that's what triggers the clicks that come pouring to my website. Instead of like targeting just a generic keyword and just spitting out a bland generic article that no one wants to click on. See the difference? So what Nick has designed here is beautiful in that it's going to dig in first. And this is where it's doing the first round of deep research, is to really extract those pain points and problems and emotional goals that people might have related to your market. And every market has them. Even as that example in gardening goes, has pain points and problems and things that are really important that that audience wants to solve. So I love how that prompt is created. And then on prompt 3, you're going to submit that. But here we turn off deep research, right? So we're just now in the same chat window. We're going to toggle off deep research and put this in. Is that right?
Yeah, you don't want to use up for both of these prompts. You don't want to use up a deep research session. You're going to use it at the beginning and at the end.
All right, cool. So then with that, it's going to give you a bunch of ideas for blog posts. And here you pick one of them. So it's going to give you 30 potential blog post ideas. It'll return the results. And then you choose one of them and put it into the next prompt, which is the blog post title that you picked. And it's going to do all of your keyword research for you now. Notice we didn't start with keyword research. We started with the emotional pain points and goals of our audience first. Lead with the human element and the emotional underlying goals first. Keywords come second, and that's how this is put together here. And then we'll show this prompt in action. I'll pull up the whole flow and you can see it and how it worked in just a moment. So you can get a real example of how this all came together. Then you ask it, again, without deep research is not on, use this prompt to get it to outline your blog post, what the content's going to be about. And then here is the final instructions telling it to write the article. And so you'll do this step by step in the same chat window in ChatGPT all the way through this process.
Yeah.
And then finally,
And on prompt number 6, you will turn Deep Research back on because you want it to go on the web. You want it to find statistics, case studies, other high authority websites, and you want it to draw on that information to create some really value dense, engaging content for your audience.
So then this will cost 2 deep research sessions, and you're going to get a very powerful, very valuable article that your audiences almost have to not click on it. They'll have to try not to click on that blog post if they see
Correct.
it. And then here you can actually go back and forth as well with ChatGPT and tweak it. If there are things that you like or you don't like, just have a nice little conversation with ChatGPT and finish it up. So let's take a look. We're going to open it up in a new tab, and we'll take a look at an example of this entire process. So let's go all the way up to the top. And you can see here, this is where Nick put in the first prompt. And the topic is weight loss, and the niche is busy professionals trying to lose weight. There was the second prompt. It asked a question, and Nick answered the question. And then here we go. Here is the report. Now, this is as a result of the deep research, right? What we're about to look at. So 100 unspoken emotional drivers of weight loss for busy working parents. So here we go. Deep-seated fears, a bunch of them. Here's one. It's too late for them to change. Past a certain age or weight, their body won't respond, leading to a sense of hopelessness. Boy, is that is spot on. I mean, I've been in the weight loss niche, so I know that is spot on.
Each of these points, they're based off of real people talking about their problems on the internet, because that's what people do. They go on communities like Reddit, or they go on internet forums where they have personal blogs and they talk about the problems they're having.
Yeah, they ask questions. They're asking for help, making comments.
Deep Research, if you go and look at the sources, because you can see which sources it looked at, I think it's over 100. It looked at over 100 conversations and posts and articles, seeing what people are talking about. This is hours of work, figuring out what thousands of people are having problems with. I think this session was about 30 minutes.
Now, I'm an example of this target market. I've actually lost 55 pounds at one point through a health, what do you want to call it, a health revolution that I went through. I had a kind of a wake-up call with a health scare. I lost 55 pounds, got healthy. I've gained a couple more pounds, and I'm trying to actively lose right now. I've got 5 to maybe 10 pounds left to drop back off again. So, and I can tell you the one right here on this list, I personally am experiencing, right? A busy executive. I work hard all day. I'm having meetings all day. I work sometimes long hours, and somehow I have to dig deep to find the energy to go to the gym. I miss that. There's several times where I should go to the gym, but this frustration pops up for me. So I can tell you, as a member of this market, that I live and breathe that problem, that frustration right there. And so these are all great, fantastic. Now, I hope if you're out there watching this, you kind of understand the fundamental difference, the way that this helps you create an article. It is radically different than doing a, quote, SEO article, where you're just going to dig into a keyword and write a bland article. This is just so much different than that. And then here are aspirational goals: to be healthy enough to see their children grow up and thrive, profound desire to be there for future generations, future milestones. And actually, this was a big part of mine. So when I did I had my health, whatever you want to call it, epiphany, right? I had a health scare, and that was my desire. You know, the kids were young at that age, and I did not want to leave them prematurely and not be part of their lives as they grew up. That was a big goal for me. So these are all fantastic. So here is the prompt where he asked for blog post ideas. Yeah, these are all fantastic. Yeah, I think I keep saying fantastic, but it is the correct description. And so then here's where you picked one of the articles and asked it to generate keywords. And there's the keywords and the topics. And then here's where you asked for it to make your outline. So here's the outline for that course. And then here's where you had it dig in and write the article. The 20-minute-a-day weight loss routine for people who have no time. Boy, would that appeal to someone. So if you were browsing Facebook and you were part of this target market, you would click on that, right? Absolutely. Right out of the intro, no time, no problem fitness. Goes into doing short workouts, a 20-minute-a-day workout routine, how to fit 20 minutes into a packed day. Like, this is a good, comprehensive, useful article, real stories from busy professionals. Yeah, anyway, that is a comprehensive and very valuable article, which is the other thing that I'd like to chat about really quickly on this strategy, Nick, is that it's important not to just put out a bunch of content slop, right? And that's what typically tools like ChatGPT will generate. Typically, you'll go to ChatGPT, you'll say, write me an article, and it'll follow your instructions, and it will give you an article, but it's just not good. It's generally bland. It's generally very average, right? Because that's what ChatGPT is designed to create. Mm-hmm.
People who are trying out AI for the first time and they don't know much about it, they go into ChatGPT and they one-shot it. They say, it's one sentence, write me an article about weight loss. And they'll put that in and it'll give them a really horrible article. They use the word slop. And then they'll see that horrible article and they go, AI does not work. It's not for me. You can't, most of the time, you cannot one-shot this stuff. Notice how, if you look at the conversation, I believe it's 7 prompts. And then at the end, I say you talk to it more. So it probably, the full conversation will probably be more like a dozen prompts. So when you're making content like this, this is the kind of stuff you have to do. If you're kind of an AI novice and you've done this before, you've done one-shots and you get content that you really do not like, the content you get with this method is not like that. It's really good.
And I want to jump in here too and say this is another reason that helps people understand how valuable our tools are. Like we have a whole brand of tools called Push Button AI that build whole businesses. This is what they do. What you see here in Deep Research is exactly what our tools are doing behind the scenes. So when you go use Push Button AI to build a business, it does this deep research. And when it writes an article, it's doing deep research. When it helps you outline a lesson, if you want to create a lesson or a course, or a sales letter, or any of these tools, it is all based upon a process very similar to what you're seeing done here in ChatGPT's Deep Research. I think people can really understand the value proposition. So with Push Button AI, you log in and you give it 2 things. You say, here's who I want to serve, and here's what I want to help them with. And you hit a button, and then it'll literally build you a business. But it does all the deep research to dig in and do it properly. And so you get to kick back hands-free while it creates your content, it creates your courses that you can give away or sell, the articles and blog posts that you can use. It makes videos, audios, and a bunch of stuff. So it's all based upon the same exact technology that you see here. So you can do it with ChatGPT's Deep Research, and you're sort of doing it yourself by hand, or you can use a tool like Push Button AI that does all of this stuff for you. So I do know we'll drop a link, which we need to move on to the next segment or the next method. Actually, the number 1 most powerful strategy is coming up, but I wanted to do that plug. So we'll drop a comment below this video with a link where people can go get a demo. If you want to get a demo of Push Button AI and see how our one-click deep research tool works, you can go do that. We'll drop that again in the comment or description below. So we have the next case study coming up, but I do want to ask you a question. We have a potential piece of content I'd like to create, and I just want to judge the audience's interest. So if you could do me a favor and drop a comment down below. So just drop that comment below and let me know if you'd be interested in a tool that uses deep research. This same tool we're showing you here, but it helps go out and recruit influencers and potential affiliates who will send you free traffic. So you can go out and use deep research to find people who will promote you and get you free traffic. So I want to know what your interest level is on that. Please drop that into the comments below if you're interested in that training. If there's enough interest in it, then producer Nick and I will create that for you. But we do have a method that uses deep research, and we can teach it to you if there's enough demand. So drop that comment below and let us know if you want the free traffic from influencers training from Deep Research. All right, well, with that, we're going to move on to use case number 1. And this is really useful for people that are really early in trying to start their online business. And I think a lot of people are kind of at that place where they don't really know what they want their online business to be. They don't know exactly what they're going to sell, even if they have a general idea of the niche market, but they don't really know specifically what to sell. This is absolutely perfect for that. And so if that's where you're at, you're going to want to use this set of prompts to dig in and brainstorm out what to sell. And as it says here, using deep research like this is like having really expensive consultants. There's business consultants out there that cost a fortune to hire these guys. Some of them are like $1,000 an hour to hire these business consultants. And you're going to get the same level of research when you follow the prompt that you see right here. So Nick, you want to walk us through how we use this?
Yes, it's like a 2-stage, 2-prompt system. The first prompt, it's a little like the beginning of the traffic strategy we showed you just a few minutes ago, but it's a lot more thorough and it's a lot more comprehensive. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have Deep Research go out. It's going to search places like Reddit, Quora, Twitter, blogs, specialized forums where your audience hangs out. And it's going to uncover their fears, goals, pain points. And then based on that, in prompt 2, we're going to put together products and offers that will help them solve these pain points and pay us money to do it.
And one thing I want to interrupt here as well is I like prompt one because it's really simple. It's lengthy, so everyone can copy and paste this out of the deck when you get it for free. But all you have to change is right there. There's just one place to put in your niche market. So you have to have at least a general idea of who you want to sell to. Could be like new moms. It could be busy executives who want to lose weight, like in the last example, but you want to put that niche market right here. And if you don't even know the niche that you want to use, we have training on the channel. We'll drop a link to it in the comments or in the description below that helps you with that. So if you don't know your niche, go check out that video. It'll help you figure it out. We have a very specific tactic to guide you on picking your niche market. But you need to know that, and you put that in here, and that's it. The rest, you just copy and paste. And so then let's go into prompt 2, Nick, and if you want to describe a little bit about what we're going to do here.
Yeah, so after prompt 2, this will be 2 deep research sessions. After the first one, it's gone out, and we'll show you the conversation in a second. It'll show you all of the pain points and the goals that they've uncovered in your market. And then, based off of that, it'll come up with, I think in the prompt, it's 30. How many is it? Yes, 30. It'll come up with 30 potential digital product ideas that you can launch to this market based on the problems they're having. Some of these digital product ideas are really good. It's kind of exceptional.
And so one thing on this, so we're using deep research in both of the 2 stages, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in the same chat window, both times with deep research on is how you're going to submit these. Now, prompt 2, I don't see anything that they have to customize, right? They just literally do nothing but copy and paste it.
Yeah, because it's using the input from the research that came out of the first prompt. So you just copy and paste it.
So let's see an example. So here was the work using this exact prompt. So you can see, and again, it might ask you some questions before it starts the deep research session, which just answer those questions the best you can. And then it will dig in. And so here are the insights and all of the background research and information. And you'll notice there are all these references. So it's even showing you where it got the information. Like there's right here. This is a great example of what you were talking about, Nick. So here's somebody on Reddit talking about my metabolism feels broken. She's a working mom and having trouble losing weight. So like if you were trying to do this by hand, how would you even find that, you know? And deep research uncovered it. Here's another, it's a working mom. It's a different thread in the working moms subreddit. So all of these, and you can see if you want to dig deeper, you can see where the data came from. But a lot of information here. So I'm going to scroll through. And then now this is prompt number 2 that Nick submitted here. And then it asked him a question. He just answered it the best he could. And then it went to work.
Don't freak out. Sometimes you will run into problems. Like if you go scroll up a little bit, it started the deep research session and then it kind of just died. So I said, where's the table? So sometimes you have to reprompt it and kind of steer it back on course. That's to be expected. Don't freak out if that happens.
Yeah, I've noticed too. I've had it actually respond back and go, hey, here's your information. And then there's just nothing there.
That's exactly what it did.
Yeah, I've had to say like, well, where's the information? And then it pops out.
Look, that's what I said. Where's the table?
Yeah. So, and here it is. So this is really cool. It has the format of the potential product. So as you can see here, audio program, video course, app, a Notion template, a PDF guide, a challenge. If you want, anybody wanted to deliver a challenge, coaching program, community, meal plan, journal. Like, look, there's a lot of these, a lot of really great ideas for different kinds of products that you could sell this market. And then each one, it gives a suggested name, which they're really good, a suggested price, a short description, and then it talks about what is the core problem solved. Now, one thing I will say, which is kind of going outside the topic a little bit of today's session, but what you see on that table would be amazing for generating a high ticket product. So it's a topic for another video. Maybe we can cover that. If you guys are interested in learning more about how to make a high ticket product offering, let us know in the comments. But from this table, you could pick and choose different elements of what it suggested and bundle them together to make a high ticket product. So instead of selling something like you saw for $19 or $97 or $27, now you bundle them together as something that solves an overall problem, and you can charge a much higher ticket price. We should actually think about doing a segment on that, Nick, how to go from zero to a high ticket product using AI.
I would love that. That'd be really fun. I love making, I make all these prompts. I'm behind all the systems Bill showing in the deck. I would love to make something like that for you guys. That'd be awesome. So please go into the comments and let Bill know that
yeah. So we got two then. So first, we'd already thought about doing the one on recruiting researchers with free traffic using Deep Research. And now second, let us know if you're interested in this one. And that is using Deep Research to create a very valuable high ticket product. Because seeing this table, just like literally as you've been watching us do this, it sparked the idea of like, wow, this is the process that I go through. Like what this just did is exactly what I do when I'm creating a high ticket product. I do this research. I brainstorm out the psychology of where the audience is. I plan out what are all the different elements that I would need to do. Do I need to make software? Do I need to have a downloadable guide? Do I need a community? Do I need video training? Do I need to do a live challenge? And I kind of assemble and put it all together to make my high ticket offer. And so with this, I could totally see how it could take everything that I do. And I've sold tens of millions of dollars worth of high ticket products online, like digital high ticket products. And this essentially replaces me, like puts me out of work. So if you want to see that, again, drop it in the comments and let us know. And I want to remind everyone as we go back to here, that if you'd like this deck, the one you've seen me browsing through here with all the prompts, the links and all the stuff, then make sure you subscribe to Ingeniosity. That is managed by Nick. It's Nick's newsletter. He sends out fantastic content once a week, teaching you new strategies and new methods of how to either build a business, get traffic, or make money. It's totally free, and you'll get this deck as a free gift for being a subscriber. I also want to thank you, Nick, for your help today. So thanks for everything you've helped out with. And I'll remind the audience that if you want more training like this, be sure to subscribe. You'll see down below a red subscribe button. Make sure you click it and subscribe. We put more content out like this every single week, often twice a week, that you'll get a new strategy, a new tactic for building or growing your business. And if you got value today, please give us a thumbs up. It really does help the YouTube algorithm. And most importantly, vote in the comments below if you want us to do one or both of those segments. So let us know which of those two trainings you would like, assuming we get enough interest, enough comments. Then we'll go prepare those trainings and drop them here for you on the channel. With that, I'll say goodbye for now. You may or may not know, I have an AI tool that's a company called Pushbutton AI that helps people build course businesses. It builds the whole business, bottom to top. It helps you do the research to pick the niche market, helps you figure out what topics you should write about, what your course should be about, what the lessons should be about. It outlines the lessons. It writes the whole thing. It creates your sales page. It creates your page to get leads to subscribe to your business. It even writes your email sequence. It does audiobooks, video trainings, and a whole lot more. You just answer 2 questions and you hit a button, and it does it all. If you're interested in that, certainly you can book a demo to see it for yourself. You'll see with your own eyes. We're often running webinars and other trainings as well. So I'll drop links to either our webinar or our demos down below so you can check it out and see if it's something for you. But I found that most people get really overwhelmed and frustrated with the technical stuff. So that's why we created Pushbutton AI. If you're looking for a tool, we'll just do it for you, and it'll just handle the technical stuff. So when it comes to like setting up your web hosting, registering a domain name, setting up your email marketing, we even include a complete, fully functional email marketing platform that you can log into and email all of your customers and subscribers. It's all included. And all of the tech setup is done by the AI. If you want that, then definitely schedule your demo. You can get a demo from us by going to pushbutton.ai/demo. Now, at the time of recording this video, Pushbutton AI is not publicly for sale. But if you book a demo, they'll show you the technology. And if it makes sense, if it's something that can really help you, they'll invite you into our early access program. But what they'll do first is show you the technology. They'll talk about what kind of a course you might want to make. They'll talk about your business plans. They'll help guide you on what the right choices are for creating your first course business. And then if it makes sense, if it's the right tool for you, they'll invite you into the early access program. But check out the demo. It's mind-blowing. Again, that's at pushbutton.ai/demo. That's pushbutton.ai/demo.